Okay, here I am.
Wow, you're even clear on this.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Jeez.
Cool.
Oh, you got a webcam too. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, where do you want to start?
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Basically, I originally from Pennsylvania. I trained with Tuki and this guy Jerry there. They're the ones that basically started me out. And
Yeah.
great guys. Nothing bad I can say about them. I still remain in contact with Bill to this day, and he's a really good guy. And through him, I met Jerry and Fran when I moved to California. At first, they weren't taking students. I think Jerry had some health issues at the time.
Right.
But I continued training on my own stuff, and then eventually got hooked with them. And I trained with them for about 3 or 4 years, and I was really a dedicated student with them. Um, I was pretty much exclusive to them, and I really enjoyed training with them. I started their new video series with them, and like basically when I would come over, Fran would just get out a notebook and just write down everything Jerry and I would talk about and do and stuff. And it was I had a lot of fun with them, and the, towards the end when I left, not really left them. Fran and I had a lot of disagreements
Yeah.
because she was going in a direction. Basically, I don't even think I know Jerry didn't want to go in this direction because he he confided in me he doesn't like traveling and all this and that. I mean, he's older now, and
Right.
basically he's not as active as someone young, and someone like me who's really interested in all the information and stuff. It's kind of hard for him to keep up, and I think he was almost like embarrassed at times. I mean, it was just kind of. I mean, him and I've never had a problem with him ever. I mean, and it's a shame because I really miss the guy. I really do, and he is an encyclopedia of JKD knowledge,
Yeah.
and he's very selective in what he says and very careful who he gives the information to, which is why I'm so surprised they're going the direction they're going, or have been going for the past couple of years. It's been mostly Fran's doing, though, because she started getting involved with that Eamon Bostepi guy, that Wing Chun guy from Germany.
Right.
And that seems like taking a giant step backwards.
Yeah.
And I just really wasn't interested in learning that. And she's like, "Oh, we're gonna have all our instructors learn this type of stuff." I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And so it, and as I was getting more into mixed martial arts stuff, explaining like what I watched on this UFC or this fight, the problems I had were more with Fran. She was very derogative to any other art form, it seemed, and it was all about money with her.
Yeah.
And when I was doing their videos, I'll be going off on tangents and stuff. So,
Okay. Just to
the
pre-warn you.
videos,
Just to pre-warn you,
yeah.
if you hear a phone ring, I'll have to get it because I'm at work. But other words, we're
Oh,
cool.
no problem at all. Cool.
Okay.
The videos we planned for quite a while, and I didn't ask for any payment. I worked out a barter system. I said, "Look, just give me some free lessons, and I'll help. I'll do whatever I can. I have editing software, all this and that. I have the camera. I'll film it. Let's do it." And so we did it out of Dangeau's garage. So we set that up, and it was, we did it during the day, and it was super hot. It was in his garage. Jason Scott Lee came over, who, Jason's a nice guy, but he obviously has not been training for a long time, which he showed up in jeans and a tank top, which if you ever see the videos, it's what he's wearing.
Yeah.
And to me, he looked like a deer caught in headlights most of the day, because he had to be reminded so much of what to do. I mean, even they did like a bow-in ceremony. You could see him looking over at Jerry as to what to do and stuff. And I said, Fran, just plan out what you want to film, and we'll do it.
Mhm.
She goes, okay, so you'll be ready. I'm like, I'm all set up. We're ready to go. And I gave her this information weeks ahead of time. She showed up with the notes that she wrote when Jerry and I were talking during class, and no organization. So right there off the bat, I was like, okay, I'm in for a very busy day. And
Right.
then, to a point, Jerry, he kind of couldn't keep up, had to sit down and stuff. And so Dane and Jason started doing stuff, and it was just all haphazard. Just, okay, do this, that, and the other thing. And then the next day, we're going to schedule Jeannie Chin to come in to do some stuff.
Woohoo.
And, um,
You hear me? I said woohoo.
yeah, she's really a nice person, really cool.
Right.
But, yeah, Fran was not happy with what we were filming. And she goes, we're going to have to set a separate day aside to film some stuff. And basically, I just want it to be about TNA. I need to get Jeannie dressed really hot and stuff. I'm
Right.
like, Fran, I mean, that's okay. I know what you're going for. That's cool. But do you think it's practical to do that in a martial arts instructional video?
Right.
And I said, you're going to put stuff like that on your website? That's cool. Have her show off your shirts whenever you guys want to sell. But, and Fran's like, well, can you punch up the sound on some of the strikes on the mitts? I'm like, that's not cool. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Plus, it takes extra time. I'm doing this for free. And she was just hounding me every day. I took all the footage. I have all the footage, probably about a good 20 hours worth of footage, like over 4 or 5 days of filming stuff on weekends. I'm working during this time too. And it was difficult because I worked like 12, 14-hour days at times, and my schedule's not really set in stone. And it got to the point where Fran was just bugging me so much. I would give her edited footage. I would ask her, can you look at this footage, tell me what you like and what you don't like? I'll cut out, we'll rearrange stuff. Oh, okay. So when will you have it done? It's like she wasn't even listening to me at times. So I just got to the point. I said, look, I'm done. You take all the footage. I can't put up with this anymore.
Yeah.
And and I said, I just removed myself from the project. And as I still train with Jerry, but then it got to the point where they were giving me Jeannie's stuff to do, like her acting demo reel and stuff. And I'm kind of reluctant to say no to Jerry at that time,
Right.
because at the time I was building a wooden dummy as well, and he was really helpful. And I mean, he was giving me Bruce Lee's plans. I mean, he had like blueprints that Bruce Lee drew and stuff like that, and he showed me the arms off of Bruce Lee's dummy and stuff like that. I mean, believe me, there was no bigger Bruce Lee fan than I back then.
Right.
And stuff. And I mean, it was great just to see all the stuff and all the stuff he made for Bruce as well, that the Bruce Lee estate doesn't have right now,
Right.
which is another thing I can get into. But yeah, it got to the point where I was doing more stuff for them, and the barter system just wasn't working for me anymore.
Right.
And then they started asking, how about, we're raising our rates now for lessons. They went from like $75 an hour to $100 an hour. I'm like, it's cool. Yeah, I think that's reasonable, but I don't feel compensated enough for the amount of work I did for them. I mean, I really spent my entire weekends doing stuff for them, and not even training with them on the weekends. I would show up like maybe once every other week or so. But yeah, it just got to the point where, and when the videos came out, I asked for a copy because they agreed to give me copies of it.
Okay.
And instead of giving me an original, they took one of the originals and duped it for me. I'm just like, you know what, this isn't cool. And So basically, it's a second generation video copy,
Hmm.
and I went to this that Dragon Fest they have out here. It's like held in November. That Gerald Akamura guy
Yeah.
handles it.
Hmm.
Uh, I I set up their table for them, made all these displays, and helped them out. And basically sold one videotape that day, which was kind of embarrassing. And so even out of doing that, I was just like, they wouldn't even give me one of those copies, which was funny. I mean, not like I was begging for one.
Yeah.
I thought it was my rights to get one because I did so much work on it. But when I viewed it, I was just like, this is embarrassing. Seeing Jeannie Chin in high heel shoes and jeans kicking a focus mitt, I'm just like, this is unbelievable, guys. What are you doing? And it got to the point where I just kind of got away from them. Just didn't associate with them. And Jerry would call me up, and him and I, we would always have these great long talks and stuff. But then Fran started doing her stuff again. Hey, can you do this for us, and that? I'm just like, I don't have the time. I can't. And it got to the point where about a year down the road, she was calling me in the middle of the night, and I'm like 1 a.m. in the morning,
Huh.
calling me, and I'm just like, and I didn't bother to answer the phone. I would hear it message, and my wife at the time was just, she was pregnant for one thing,
Yeah.
and she was just like, I can't put up with these guys anymore. Why are they doing this to you? And I mean, she's like, you don't train with them anymore, and they're just asking you for all this stuff, and it was just a great source of frustration for me, and it got to the point when I was with those guys, I would help them out with seminars,
Uh-huh.
and I would have to pay to go to the seminars too, which was even funnier. And I'm helping instruct, and the, the the students that held the seminars, they weren't teaching what Jerry taught them, which was even weirder to me, and it started just becoming too much of a money issue and bad business, really. I mean, if you're gonna my thing, if you're going to make martial arts a business, you should stick to your philosophies of what you're teaching. And yes, you can prolong that to get to keep students and to build students. I mean, that is one problem I had with when I tried starting a martial arts school. I can't do that
Yeah.
because I have such a passion for martial arts that I don't feel right in taking people's money in order to keep them as students. And I understand as a business person, you need to do that. And it's something I just never felt comfortable with, and I just won't do it. To me, martial arts now, it's part of my life. It always will be, and it'll never be a business part of my life. It'll just be something I enjoy doing, and has helped me. I mean, helped me immensely throughout my career, just in dealing with people and everything. And Fran was getting away from that, and it,
Hmm.
and it, I mean, that's why I really respect Rodney King, so much that he's upfront about that. He's basically, look, martial arts, this is my business, this is my life, and I want to keep students, but I'm not gonna jerk you around and give you information that basically I don't approve of. And Fran was doing that. She was basically just giving information to keep people, whatever was hot.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very like the second generation student stuff. It, it's unfortunate that they've never been able to organize correctly under a banner. I mean, the Bruce Lee estate now, I think, I've been out of it for so long that I know they were just trying to stop everybody from putting out articles for licensing the image to like Inside Kung Fu or Black Belt magazines. They were charging outrageous prices. Okay, let me just get off on this one tangent about magazines again.
Okay.
Going back to Inside Kung Fu, another thing that Fran did to me was I wrote an article just just training with rubber cables and stuff like that for strength. It was using surgical tubing instead of buying expensive training equipment and stuff. And I gave it to Fran. She didn't even read it. And she said, yeah, I called Inside Kung Fu. They want nothing to do with JKD right now. And so I wrote to Inside Kung Fu. Never heard back from them, which was surprising because I wrote a particular nasty letter about them about a year ago, and they actually published it in their magazine. And they actually said, "Well, Mr. Kiss, did you ever write an article for us?" And I'm thinking, "Yeah, I did, but you guys never got it." But
Right.
so I contacted a couple other magazines. Black Belt, they just weren't interested, and Kung Fu magazine, they emailed me back like within a few minutes and said, "Look, we can fit your article in, in this upcoming month's issue. It's the perfect size." It was just like, "Oh, cool." And yeah, they did it, and did it without any compensation. I just wanted my name out there,
Right.
and I just said, just include my email address and stuff, and my biography. And they're, oh, cool, no problem. And when that article came out, I got like one email from people. It's a pretty well distributed magazine, and I'm just like, yeah, it was discouraging. I'm gonna keep at it, but then as I kept at it and getting more to the business aspect of things, I just lost interest
Yeah.
in the business aspect of it. But yeah, it just really pissed me off that Fran just blatantly lied to me. Oh yeah, Inside Kung Fu was just not interested. And when I had the article published and stuff, she didn't. At that time, I was on still good terms with Jerry and stuff, and they didn't even bother to congratulate me and say, "Oh, or anything like that." It was basically taking business away from them, as far as I saw it. And then when it came down to the instructors list on their website, yeah, they had Glenn Danzig up there, Jason Scott Lee, and this at that time like four other people, including me. And then Fran and I got into a really heated argument. She called me at work. I was on the phone with her for like 45 minutes, and this was at the time we were doing Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I was extremely busy and just didn't have the time to talk.
Right.
And it got to the point I was yelling at her, and I mean, I'm pretty much a cordial person up to the point where it got. She just grated on my nerves so much that and at that time I was posting on your forum a lot too, and she was like, "I don't want you to do that anymore." I'm just like, "Well, the thing is, I'm trying to start a class. There's some, and I enjoy posting there. I was getting along with a lot of people there and stuff, and at that time, Lamar Davis came to California, and I met with him. It was just that she was very discouraging to me to meet other JKD people and
Right.
stuff, and I was like, well, how do you expect me to get any better? And it's all about exchanging ideas and training each other and helping each other out, which is where the third generation students, I think, are the only ones doing that because they have such a passion for it and stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people say a lot of bad stuff about Lamar. I've rarely heard anything good. Like Fran and Jerry, they're just like, well, he wasn't going to be part of our organization or anything like that. I'm like, well, how is he? Is it a teacher and a practitioner and stuff? Oh, he's okay and stuff. Well, we just don't associate with him. I'm like, well, that's not cool, And to me, it's bad business when you're bad mouthing so many people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's ruining your reputation because everyone has to defend themselves instead of help each other, and that's one problem I have. Same thing like with William Holland. I know William's background. He claims to have trained with a lot of people, but the people that I've talked to that he claims to have trained with, they really don't say a lot of. I mean, so yeah, he showed up once and stuff like that, or he trained with us a couple of times, and but then again, too, I have to say that they did pull the thing where you have to be a part of our organization if you want to be affiliated with us.
Right.
So I think there's a little give and take there and stuff. I mean, I'm not denying Williams' talent or anything like that. I met the guy one time, and I didn't have a good experience with him because he was pulling this shit with me where I showed up for a class with him. This was previous to even posting on your forum. This is a few years before that. And my first day there, he had me teaching students. And then he wanted me to pay for coming to classes. I'm I don't play that game. No way. And he didn't his teaching method I wasn't really happy with either. It was more like a karate type school.
Mm.
But again, it's this business aspect. You got to keep students and stuff. I mean, he does know stuff, but I don't like what he teaches because it's overcomplicated, and that's not what JKD was about and stuff. And the stuff he was teaching, I don't know where he got it from because I think his dad was a boxer or something like that.
Right.
He was incorporating more Wing Chun moves into boxing that were just basically unnecessary. And boy, I'm all over the place this morning. Jeez. But yeah, and getting back to Lamar,
Yeah.
I went to a seminar with him, and I paid for it. So what the heck? I met Gene Ching that day. He was cool. He only stayed for a little bit, and but and yeah, Lamar and I just got to talking. He was fun to talk to, and I've never met a guy that's more passionate about learning what Bruce Lee taught, and I think that's super cool because he's like. He's basically like a Bruce Lee historian. He wants to learn every single thing that Bruce Lee taught, and that's cool. He does that, and he has his students and he's a business guy, so that's cool. And
Oh,
I
hold
just
on.
don't like how people get down on him so much for that. I mean, that's what he does, and that's cool. But I'm hearing music.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
That's Hold on.
No problem.
I hit a wrong button on here when I was playing around. Sounds pretty good though, don't it?
There you go, yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Nope.
Lamar's a good guy. He wants to learn everything he can, but
Yeah.
some of it's not JKD towards the end of his life. It's more,
Yeah.
The problem is, from what I've heard, is they're taking Wing Chun and calling it JKD.
Exactly. Which, that's kind of like what Tacky's thing is. When Bruce first started out, that's basically what it was and stuff. But, which is weird. I mean, another thing, a lot of people don't know this, is what Daniel Lee does. I trained with Daniel Lee a couple times, and the guy's really losing it. I mean, he's, just at a senility level, I think. It's really unfortunate, too, though. When I went to his house, I mean, there's the dummy that Jerry Poteet made for him. It's outside, and he painted it with a paintbrush with this white paint and stuff. It's rotting away outside and stuff, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And the class that he gave, I was like, man, the first hour was Wing Chun. Strict Wing Chun that he taught from out of a notebook. And I was just like, I can't believe this. I was there with like 4 other guys. We're doing Wing Chun. And the next half was boxing. I mean, the guy's boxing skills are impeccable. I mean, he just had knee surgery, and he can move, man. He can really move. And but the thing is, though, I asked him, Daniel, why are you teaching like this? He goes, well, I'm giving them a base to liberate from. I'm like, well, isn't that kind of not what Bruce Lee was doing? And the whole point of JKD is basically liberating you from this type of thought. He goes, yeah, but I need to give you chains to liberate from. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're burdening people before you can give them freedom to experiment and stuff. And it was really kind of weird, and I paid for like a month's worth of lessons before doing his class, and I decided, Daniel, I'm just not going to come back. And this was after thinking about it after a week or so.
Yeah.
And he cashed my check and stuff. And I said, can I just get my money back? And he goes, oh, yeah, sure. It took me 6 months to get my money back off of him, which was even weirder. I mean, the guy just kept forgetting about me. He goes, I don't remember training with you. I'm like, well, you cashed my check. You need a copy of it. And it was kind of weird. And I was always trying to get Daniel and Jerry together just to have a seminar together, and just even not to even work out together, just talk about the old times because people would be really into that and stuff, and just talk about training together because between the two of them, I know they have forgotten a lot just throughout the years because that's what happens, when you get together with somebody, they say something or just sparks a memory of something you completely forgotten, and that's
Right.
what I kind of wanted to get happening, and
Right.
it never happened though. They just weren't interested. I mean, they were still friendly with each other, but they never talked to each other in so long, and I mean, between the two of them, they would say, "How's he doing? I mean, why don't you guys just call each other?"
Yeah.
you know, and stuff. I mean, and it's not like they were hours away from each other. He was only like a 40-minute drive outside of L.A. But that to me, I mean, it's really unfortunate how Daniel's been handling it and just stays out of the limelight. I mean, he had a website up and everything. I don't know if he still does,
Hmm.
but it's really unfortunate that he's teaching that way, and it's just like taking giant steps backwards. I went to go meet with their editor, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he's at home now." I showed up, and the guy wasn't home and stuff. I'm just like, you know what, this is ridiculous. So I just gave all the footage to Fran and Jerry and said, "Here, take it." And eventually, they got it done, but they don't want to pay anybody. So I think that's why. Well, I should say she doesn't want to pay anybody. Um, and it was just it's really unfortunate. I mean, because I think Jerry's trapping stuff was a lot of fun, and the thing is, she didn't give me any credit on the video, which really bugged me. And she knew I was starting a school and stuff, and basically, just because I wasn't giving her money, and the big argument we had when she called me at work
Oh, there's
was
that first phone call. Hold on one
no
second.
problem. But the big argument I had with her when she called me at work was like, look, I train with you every week. There's no reason for me to go to your instructor seminar and pay you $300. She goes, "Well, you have a certificate. We can take that away." I'm like, you're not going to take away any knowledge from me. You can look if you want to take me away as an instructor. That's fine. But if people train with me, they're going to see what I know and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like, look, I went to college. You can't take away my degree because I'm not teaching what they taught me in college. Basically, you're given a degree, you're expected to keep learning and grow from it. That's what JKD is all about. I was trying to tell her this, and she goes, "No, but that's not what we're doing." I'm like, "Look, I went to school. I've been an artist all my life. That's what I went to college for, and you're taking this now, and you're taking it into just a strict business, which is fine, but you need to adhere to what your philosophies are when
Hmm.
we discuss all these." And she goes, "Yeah, but it's all about making money too." I'm like, "But you don't need to sacrifice your basically your beliefs and philosophy in order to make a buck." It's like, yeah, I understand you need to get students and keep students, but don't regress. And I'm like, "Fran, I just don't like the direction you're going." I mean, martial arts is continuously evolving. I mean, anytime I talk about UFC stuff, you're saying, "Well, that's not JKD." I'm like, "Look, I'm not saying it's JKD, but if you're in a fight and someone takes you to the ground, you better know what you're gonna do." So yeah, but Wing Chun has some anti-grappling techniques before you even get to the ground. I'm like, you can't depend on that. You need to look at the full spectrum of things. I'm not saying include grappling your uh in your repertoire, but the thing is, JKD, I mean, you gotta know how to stay on your feet and stuff. I mean, that's what Jerry does. But the thing is, though, you can't take a step backwards to look at Wing Chun techniques for anti-grappling,
Hmm.
which are hundreds of years old, when wrestling and everything, like, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has evolved so much that it gets around that point. And I'm not saying that grappling is the be-all end-all, but the thing is, you need to stay away from that if you don't know how to grapple. You know, the JKD solution, basically, as Jerry would teach it, for me, as my opinion, would be run. you know, don't go to the ground with the guy. Do what you can to stay away and stuff. And as we've seen in UFC now, that the strikers are on top now because they know how to stay away from a grappler.
Right.
Even in a cage, I mean, people aren't just running; they're sprawling. They know how to defeat the grappler, and basically, it's why grapplers are having a hard time keeping up now because they have to learn striking skills and stuff. But the thing is, they're not going to Wing Chun skills to learn how to strike, you know. But that's another thing. Like the JKD, I mean, I love the fact that if people want to learn the art as Bruce Lee taught it, that's fantastic. Um, as an evolution, I think the name JKD needs to be just put to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying, well, Bruce Lee would be doing this, that, and the other thing if he were alive today. I mean, the problem is Bruce Lee's dead. He did what he did. People want to learn what he did and study his philosophy. I mean, his philosophy still holds true to this day, and it's amazing. But a lot of the techniques and stuff that he does don't. I mean, like I said, I train in Crazy Monkey now and stuff. But the thing is, I trained JKD for 13 years, and it's still a part of my life. Tang Soo Do, I trained for 10 years. I use all that stuff has been ingrained in my system, and no matter what, that's still going to come through to what I do to this day. And it's not like I say karate sucks or JKD sucks.
Right.
It was a stepping stone, It's part of the evolution in my life, and the problem I have with some JKD people, they think it's the be-all, end-all to martial arts. And to be a martial artist, you can't think that way. And the thing is, you don't need to label yourself to be a martial artist. You don't need to say, I practice JKD exclusively, and that's all I'm going to do. Right. That's limiting yourself. That's not what the philosophy of Bruce Lee was about. It's no limits. That was one of his core things, using no limitations as limits. And to me, I just don't like people arguing over his philosophy and stuff when it's written there. Interpret it as you will and stuff, and that's what he wanted it to be. And I think the thing with me is I don't like to argue with people anymore because that last argument I had with Fran was just like, that to me is just like, it shows you just complete lack of respect. If you don't have respect for your students and what, I mean, I wanted to be a part of their organization. It was cool. But I didn't like the direction they were going, so I was just like, you know what, Fran, we're done. And I told her plain as day about the Glenn Danzig thing. Mm-hmm. He hasn't trained with them, God, for 15 years now. Mm-hmm. And the stuff he trained with them, he just wanted to strike. That's all he wanted to do. He just wanted to hit. He didn't learn any trapping, no Chi Sao stuff, but yet they put him as an instructor on their website. Yeah. And basically, Jerry said a lot of good things about Glenn. Glenn was a great guy to hang around with, man, because he was really into it. He loved the philosophy aspect. He was really into it, but he didn't want to learn anything else but hitting and stuff. And my whole thing was I love striking and stuff, and learning from Bill, who's a huge guy. I mean, I really learned striking very well from him, and the trapping, Jerry and I, that's all I did for years with Jerry was the trapping. I'd gotten to Chi Sao towards the end, but to me it was a waste of time. It was, it's okay, it's getting your left and right side of your brain thinking at the same time and stuff, and it's kind of like a fun little chess game, but to me, it's worthless. It was not worth it. And same thing, I felt the same way about trapping at the time too. It was a fun little game. But the thing is, too, though, like in Crazy Monkey, it's evolving now. We're not doing trapping, but some of the aspects are there, and I'm. It's so simplified what Rodney's doing and stuff, and it's so practical. That's the thing, and that's what I really like about it. I'm like, this is just a great evolution of my training. I really like this. I mean, I'm not a salesman for Rodney or anything like that. I just really like training with him, and his students are just fantastic. I mean, that's one thing I like about his form. It's basically there's no bad mouthing of people. It's all sharing knowledge. It's not being Pollyanna and life is so beautiful and all this and that and stuff. It's basically everyone shares their knowledge, and when people have a problem, it's more like I'm having a problem with this type of thing. People are willing to help out with it, and they're not disagreeing with each other saying your thing won't work. They're like saying, here, try this, here, try that. And that's a problem I was running into on your forum, that a lot of people were just like, that's just stupid. At one point I know I was guilty of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically learning. But the thing is, people aren't learning. Like I said, when attitudes haven't changed much, it's basically you need to grow, and I just don't see the growth in JKD that should be there anymore, and that's why I just left. There's too much, just the infighting, the disrespect among students, and it's always a discrepancy of who knows what, who learned this, and even among the second generation students, it was happening. I'm just like, in the Bruce Lee estate, they basically just shot themselves, basically, because them wanting to have rankings and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know what? This is just ridiculous. You guys are just setting yourselves back before Bruce Lee even started the art. And it just got to the point of just being ridiculous and stuff. And like I said, I sold my wooden dummy, all my training equipment and stuff that I made. I mean, I had fun making all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, I just had wooden dummy arms that I made a few years ago. I just found them in the closet and just sold those and stuff. And it was, it was a great time. I loved doing it, but it just got to that point where Fran just bugged the hell out of me with just, and she pushes Jerry. She really does, to the point. I mean, I have it on videotape with Jerry just like, I guess he has to take angina pills or something like that, where he would have to sit down and just stop and collect his thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really upsetting to me, because he's doing this while I'm paying him to train. But the thing is, don't drive the guy like this. And he's not interested in traveling around the world anymore. He has a lot of health issues and stuff. And the thing with training with Jerry, it got to the point. I mean, he's an older guy. I'm a younger guy, and I want to train hard, and I couldn't get that with him. Yeah. And he would bring in some of his students and assist, and I even said, "Look, Jerry, if you want me to help you assist training people, I'm more than happy to." And for some reason, he wasn't really into doing that, because I think he was almost embarrassed by it, and he didn't know his limitations physically. I mean, he would train to the point where like his skin would bruise because he's a diabetic and stuff,
yeah.
And he would train as hard as he could, and he would hurt himself over it, and I didn't like to see that. And I could tell he was embarrassed by it, and it's really unfortunate. I was always very understanding with him and discussed with him. He goes, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're here to learn, and I want to teach you as much as I can, and stuff. And the thing is, that was really, I think, I was always grateful about that. And he didn't want me doing Chi Sao with another student because he wouldn't be able to correct me and stuff, and even doing trapping and stuff like that. Yeah. So he was always cool about that, and he was always giving me great Bruce Lee stories and stuff, like this one time where he snuck into Bruce Lee's library and stuff, and I was just going through books, and I can't remember who was with him. It might have been Steve Golden,
Mm-hmm.
but and Bruce standing in the doorway watching him, and Jerry didn't see him, and then Bruce said something, and he threw a pair of rubber. He had a pair of rubber three-sectional staff or something like that. Bruce Lee threw it at him, smacked Jerry in the face and stuff, and just laughed about it afterwards and stuff. So, just hearing stories like that is really cool. And one thing I thought was really cool that Jerry told me, he goes, I haven't said this to many people,
Mm-hmm.
but the way you talk and you and I talk about things, just like, what, Bruce Lee would have really loved to be around you. I'm just like, oh, really? That's really cool to hear, I mean, hearing that, it was just like, that was just awesome, just put you on top of the world and stuff. And, so, I'm not coming from, like, this thing where I hate the Bruce Lee philosophy and all this and that. It's just like, I still use it to this day. I love it. And hearing, I still love the times I spent with Jerry and the training I had with him. I don't regret it for a minute. I love doing it.
Right.
But yeah, just the direction they went, I can't be a part of it. And the same thing with the whole JKD community. I just can't be a part of. I was gonna train with Tim Tackett, I think it is. I was gonna go to one of their retreats or something like that, and I can't remember what happened. I paid for it and everything. I just at that time, I think it was during the time my wife was pregnant and stuff like that, and she was ready to go. I just can't go right now.
Yeah.
But so that's when I started going to Jerry Wetzel's place, and who I found through your forum as well. But I know William Holland was supposed to show up a few times at Jerry's or Rodney King's seminars, and he paid for it, but never showed up. And Jerry Wetzel always said, Bill seems like kind of an odd guy, and I'm just like, yeah, he is. And but even when William Holland has his beach seminars or whatever, his beach retreat, he invited Jerry and even scheduled him in, but then he canceled Jerry the last minute, which I don't understand why it happened, but Jerry
I know he was hurting for money on that thing.
Okay.
So it might have came down to, okay, I got these guys coming. I know I'm not going to make enough money. I got to cut somebody, So.
Exactly. Well, there you go. That probably makes sense. But yeah, I haven't been to one of those beach retreats. Actually, I was gonna do a thing. I was gonna do it for free, and just nothing came of it, which was kind of odd. I don't know if he was just bad on his follow up or he was just disorganized and stuff. But yeah, I just basically I offered. I'd say, look, I'll teach anything you want. I'm just more than happy to do it. I'm trying to think what else.
You're gonna tell me why Franny doesn't like moi.
Yeah. She's like, what? Don't even bother to post on his website. There was some issue that came up. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been over something that Ron Prather guy said or something. And Fran went onto the website. I think she signed up under the name True/False. I think that was her. Because it looks like something she would say. I think it was only one post.
Yeah.
It was like a fuming post, and that was the last of it. And she was saying stuff that, just, he's trying to put together this organization or something like that. We just don't want to have any part of something like that. And I'm like, well, Fran, you know what? In order to be part of the JKD community, you should know what's out there. You should see what people are saying. And the thing is, a lot of reputable people post on this website and say things.
Right.
And I said, and I'm like, I post up there because I enjoy the conversation, because basically I'm not getting it from you guys. I'm getting your opinion, and that's it. And in order to grow, you can't be one-sided like that. And if you want to learn as well, I mean, you're going to see this Eamon Bosteppy guy and stuff, and basically he's not even doing JKD, and so why are you so offended that I'd be doing this? She goes, well, it's not right. You don't have the authority to say stuff like that. I'm like, what do you mean I don't have the authority? It's like, uh, I, I basically I've been training in JKD for 13 years, and it's not like I'm trying to boast myself. I have an opinion. I think I have some valuable information. I just want to share it with others,
Right.
and it's a good networking site. I mean, I would love to go to seminars with these people, train with them and stuff, and it's fun. It's a good conversation, and that's the only way you learn anything. I've learned a lot of stuff by posting. I've learned what not to do by posting on your site and stuff. What not to say. Because everyone has a different opinion, gives different feedbacks, no matter if it's positive or negative. And but it just got to the point, just like I just don't like what he's doing, and it's just a bad name for JKD. I'm like, well, there's your opinion. Why don't you go on and say it?
Right.
you know,
So she didn't
and
have anything personally against me. She just didn't like the forum.
the forum. And the thing is, to me, she never likes anybody. I don't think she ever met you or anything like that. And
No, never met.
you know,
We had some correspondence over the phone in the probably
Mhm.
early '90s, and
Right.
she gave me the basis of my first article. She used to say, "Oh, well, why would Bruce go back to kindergarten when he's been to college?"
Exactly.
And stuff
And,
like that.
I threw that same quote back at her during that argument.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're not even going to kindergarten. It's like you haven't even been born yet. I remember telling her that.
yeah,
And um, it was which is weird. It's like even with Bill Matucci, he started training with Ted Wong, and she got pissed off about that. And Bill told me, just like, Fran, I'm at that time Jerry was having health issues. I
right.
had no one to train with. I went with Ted because to me, Ted has some of the information that Bruce did not give to people like Jerry and stuff. And the thing is, Ted's a nice guy. When I invited Ted to a seminar, he stayed at my house. He helped clean my house without even asking. It was just unbelievable. Ted's just a super nice guy,
Yeah.
and he got into an argument with Fran. And Fran, you just give people attitude. No one wants to deal with you. And he goes, fine, take my name off your fucking instructors list because I'm on Ted Wong's now, and I don't have these issues with Ted ever.
Yeah.
And he got it's just really weird. I mean, Bill and I we I have great conversations. He just tell me all this bullshit that Fran would just try doing, just trying to nickel and dime him to death about using their name and stuff. And Fran's from Pittsburgh and stuff, so she goes and visits, and she had a run-in with Bill, and Bill just said, yeah, look, I'm still training with Ted, and all this and that. And he goes, yeah, he's coming out for a seminar and all this and that. I get a lot of students that come out and stuff, and she was just really taken aback, and that's when she started pushing Jerry to do more seminars. We need to get more instructors and stuff, and basically their thing is, you just got to have Jerry come to your place, do a seminar. He has a private with you. You pay him. He gives you a teacher's or a teacher in good standing type certification, and it's that to me is just all wrong. It's just, I mean, I know Rodney has something similar to it,
Yeah.
but Rodney won't give it to you if you're not up to the level of standards that he wants. And that's one thing I respect about that. Like with me, I was a trainer in training. That's what he called me. I could not call myself an instructor. I didn't have to pay Rodney for this either. I was part of his forum and would contribute and stuff. I would go to his seminars, and I wouldn't have to pay a private instructor seminar or something like that. It's when Rodney was comfortable with me teaching it, he would say, okay, now you can teach this stuff. You have a good grasp of this,
Right.
but like what Jerry and Fran are doing. It's that basically, JKD is a hard thing. Oh yeah, JKD is a difficult thing to learn. Just from the basic Baizhang stance, staying on your toes. Your calves are burning after the first day you're doing it and stuff. And um, it's very attribute driven.
Yeah.
And I think there are ways. I mean, that's one thing about Lamar. I think he devised a way to show like the chi sound stuff like that in a way to take away, not take away the attributes, but for a person just coming in the first day of class, they can walk away with something, you know. Um, but like with the way Jerry and those guys do their instructor thing now, they're giving you so much information at once, and it's impossible to be able to pass it along to somebody when you're confused yourself. And that to me is, you can't train people like that. And when I attended a seminar with them and helped them instruct,
Yeah.
these students that were there, they've been training with this guy for like 5 years. These people were pathetic. I mean, I could not believe the skill level was so piss poor. And this guy was just there to take their money. And that to me is basically, I really couldn't believe it. I mean, there are people that will just give their money to say they're learning something when in essence they're not. And this was not encouraged, but when I came back from the seminar, I was at Jerry's apartment discussing the seminar with them and telling them how appalled I was by these students at the seminar. And they're like, yeah, and the way he teaches and all this and that. I'm like, but the thing is, he's certified under you. Why aren't you doing something about it? There should be some quality control.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's making a lot of money at it. I'm like, but then you shouldn't bitch. If you're not concerned about quality control, you guys shouldn't say anything then. And basically, they just threw quality out the door. That's that, and they became what they hated the most. Or I should just say she did. I don't think Jerry has much say so and stuff in the matter because basically he just goes along with it, and he basically doesn't want to deal with her bitching all the time, I think. Right. And stuff. And basically he just goes along with it, does as little as he can, just without getting himself upset, I should say. He loves what he teaches. He loves doing it. And, it's just unfortunate it's the direction that them and a lot of people have taken and stuff. And I think, that's going to do a great disservice to people that actually want to learn the real JKD stuff out there. And so it's up to basically like people that are dedicated third generation students to that I think have been doing the best job. And it's really unfortunate that the Bruce Lee estate has been clamping down on the second generation students because they're not following their principles or whatever. They're trying to, you can't use the Bruce Lee image anymore and all this and that. I mean, that's why Fran changed the name to Jerry Poteet's Jeet Kune Do. Right. It's, and they basically disassociated themselves with the Bruce Lee estate. And it's just really weird. And they're like, yeah, well, we got some stuff on the Bruce Lee estate if they ever want to, cause problems. Which they really don't. I mean, they have videotapes of Bruce Lee's entire book library. Basically, they just sat down and videotaped all the books that Bruce had. It's not like they opened up the books and scanned every page and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're gonna leak that one of these days or sell it.
Well, why would that be a bad thing anyway?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, and it doesn't make any sense. And to me, if they really had dirt on the Bruce Lee estate, they would have told me. And
Right.
I don't think they do. And basically, when Shannon Lee showed up at the seminar, well, the Bruce Lee first annual Bruce Lee fan convention,
Yeah.
which was the only annual fan convention they ever had, um, basically their head was so far up her ass that basically they're like, "Come on, if you guys." Yeah, this was just, it was embarrassing, really. And this they had this big panel up there as well, all the second generation Bruce Lee students. People in the audience were asking them, how do we go about learning the true art? Because we know there's a lot of people out there that don't teach it.
Yeah.
And Linda Lee said, you need to talk to one of these people up on stage. Anyone care to say anything? None of them said anything. I mean, I think, was it Bob Bremer? I think he's like in his 80s
Yeah.
and stuff. He was the only one that said anything. And he goes, you know what? I'm an old guy now. I'm retired. And just like, I had my fun. I love talking about it, talking about the good old days. But there's other guys here on this panel that are willing to help you out.
Yeah.
And no one said anything. You know, Ted Wong, I think, said something. He didn't say anything about his school. He was like saying, yeah, you need to go out and find people to train with. Like, yeah. I mean,
Tell us something we don't know.
yeah, exactly. You know, and it was just really embarrassing. And then, well, before that, Ted Wong gave a demonstration, and then after that, Jerry gave a demonstration. And the demonstration, it was pretty pathetic. I was really just really taken aback by it. At first, it was the old, let's plant some people in the audience and get Jeannie Chin on stage that says, I'm ready to take some volunteers to do some self-defense techniques. You know, and what was funny is this one big guy who wasn't a plant in the audience walked up on stage. and she was just like, she was like stunned. She didn't know what to do. And then Dane Janode and these other guys that were the plants in the audience came up on stage, and she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I got this group here, can you go sit down? And then they did this thing that was, you know, choreographed to look like the Matrix. Basically, that's when the second Matrix movie came out.
Yeah.
And they messed up so many times, and it was just embarrassing. It was like, how can you pawn this off as JKD? And then they did another thing where the reality-based training came into play, where Jerry said, oh, that was just like for the movie stuff that we do, and now here is our reality-based stuff. And these guys hit hard. And it was the guy that performed the seminar that, you know, I was embarrassed for their students.
Yeah.
He was doing mixed martial arts stuff. And I'm just like, and he just basically had guys doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on stage, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is what, you know, how come Linda and Shannon just didn't say, stop, you guys, what is this all about? You know, it was just embarrassing, and I think that's why there's never been another convention. I mean, because there were tons of people at this convention. The Burbank, I think it was a Sheridan or something. The audience, it was packed. It was standing room only.
Yeah, but you.
And yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. It really was. And right then and there, and a few weeks later is when I had my falling out with Fran and Jerry. You know, it's just really unfortunate. But you know, it's cool to see like people like William Holland that wants to do his beachside seminars, but you know, he's not organized enough that he doesn't follow through with a lot of things and stuff. And you know, and the thing like with your forum, when you have people like Fran telling her students not to go there, I mean, that to me is doing a disservice to the community. You know, it's just like that's just wrong. It really is.
Yeah.
And her personal problem with you, I don't know what it is, because she has issues with everybody, it seems. I mean, she has something bad to say about everybody, from Dave Cater at Inside Kung Fu, and which is weird because now when they talk to the guy, it's just like they're kissing his ass and all this and that, and begging to be on the cover of Inside Kung Fu and all this and that, and it's just a weird thing with her, and it's just weird. I'm just trying to think of other situations that might have come up, like their fight choreography stuff for movies. Another, sure. What was I saying?
Choreography?
Oh yeah, the fight choreography. And thanks for reminding me, because I do have ADD, and I basically I'm doing my website in between talking to you and stuff.
No problem.
But I put together their fight choreography demo reel and stuff, free of charge, of course, and they got the movie Time Cop 2, and they were going over these fight ideas with me and stuff, and it came down to they were going to hire a bunch of fight people. 'Cause I did stunt work and stuff like that in the past, and I've been a puppeteer and all this and that, and by puppeteering, I mean, I don't mean puppets like holding Kermit the Frog and all this and that. I actually get into creature suits and do stunts, basically.
Right.
And, but, what's that, Fran's post on my forum?
Yeah.
Did you just send me that?
I looked it up, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I would definitely love a link to that. I'd love to go back and read that. I'm curious to see my old posts, too. I'm just curious to see what I wrote. Just to see, how my attitudes have changed over the years. But, let me see. Yeah, we're rehearsing fight stuff, just us three in his apartment.
Yeah.
Then, I said, you know what? And they're like saying, yeah, we're really gonna, try to get you in on this, get you a couple days of SAG work and stuff. And, like a week later, they've already filmed the stuff. And, they did it with Dane, this guy, Dane. And, I'm like, weren't you guys gonna call me? And they go, yeah, they didn't want you. I'm like, what? And they go, yeah, you didn't look the right type.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? And they go, yeah, it was a prison scene, and you didn't look like the right type. I'm like, okay, I have tattoos, I had long hair at the time.
Right.
What do you mean? Okay, Dane's this clean-cut guy, basically, who doesn't look like he would hurt a fly, and you put him in and stuff, and I'm just like, it was really strange to me. And, I mean, even after we're rehearsing stuff, Dane was never there. I was just like, you guys are just fucking me again, it seemed. And, it was really strange. And then when, I don't know if you ever saw Time Cop 2, but, there's a behind-the-scenes thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But Fran is just, like, over the director's shoulder, just staring and just, like, really being obtrusive, you could tell.
Yeah.
And when they interview her, it's just like such a load of horse shit she's giving and stuff. And but it's funny how she promoted themselves. Basically, was they claim that they choreographed Bruce Lee's movies. I'm like, what? This producer is saying that, and he goes, yeah. That's the reason why we hired Fran and Jerry's, because they hired they choreographed all the Bruce Lee movies. Instead of just saying Dragon, it was just like, oh my god, unbelievable. But,
hey, what about his new book says something about he co-created JKD?
You're kidding me.
No.
I breezed through the book at a bookstore.
Yeah.
Didn't want to buy it, of course, or anything like that. I should just go on Amazon and see if I find it used. But, like I said, it's just going to open up a can of worms. It's just going to make me mad.
Right.
But I'm curious, because when I was training with Jerry, him and I were writing notes for a book and stuff. And Fran I would come up with these quotes and stuff like that, and Fran would just write them down. And I see a lot of that shit's in the book. And like, give me a fucking thank you at least,
Right.
And that just really just sets me off, because she wants to take credit for everything and stuff, and which it just really teed me off. And same thing with all the training equipment I help make for them, and a lot of the training ideas, like the ideas for like well, hockey shin guards has been around for a while and stuff, but there were these new shin guards on the market and stuff like that, and I showed them to them, and they use them in all their demonstrations now, and all this and that, and how I hold the focus mitt and stuff like that. They redid how they did all this stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I wasn't asking for money or anything like that, just a credit. That's all it took. And at that time, I was really trying to get my martial arts school going. That's all I was asking for at the time. Give me a link, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started fighting with her more and more and more. And it just got to the point, it's just like, I'm just going to disassociate myself with you guys. I'm done. I'll just do my own thing. Because at that point, I was training with Jerry Wetzel, and then training under this guy Mark Scott, who does this guy Ray Floro. It's a Kalis Listromo knife fighting stuff, which is something I just consider fun to do. And Mark's a cop, so he's really practical in his stuff. And I wasn't teaching any of that or the crazy monkey stuff. I was just doing straight JKD stuff. And as I started doing more and more the crazy monkey stuff, I'm just like, I think it's just time to move on completely. And it's just like, it's not. I always took umbrage with the saying, that Bruce always says, throw out what's useless, and stuff like that. Because to me, nothing is really useless.
Right.
I mean, at some point, like even like a jump spin back kick could be used. It's impractical, but it's something fun to do. But adhering to that particular term as to how he applied it has been misused so much, and basically, like from a practical self-defense standpoint, no, a jump spin back kick is not going to be practical,
Right.
but it's fun to do, and that's why these people just hold that as just strict doctrine. We throw out everything that's useless, but what about having fun? Is that useless? Why don't you just throw that out too?
Yeah.
And when you take away the fun of practicing martial arts and having just a strict, balls out militant approach, it's sooner or later you're going to lose students, and you're taking the fun out of it, you're taking the philosophy out of it, and you're making it a military drill is what it's become, instead of something that could be practical and fun at the same time. And that, to me, I saw a lot of JKD people doing that. And the arguments I had with the one, if you could find the old post with me talking about that, I thought that quote was outdated. But looking back now, it's not like it's outdated. It's just been used in the wrong terms and stuff. But it's too much doctrine that has turned into it, more rather than a guide. And I think I even said that in the post way back when. But let me think what else. I'm trying to think of other fun run-ins I've had. Oh, this guy, like getting back to the Bruce Lee estate, clamping down on second-generation students.
Yeah.
There's this guy out here named Todd Tai. His last name's spelled T-E-I, I believe. He's a Wing Chun guy. Knows his Wing Chun stuff. Definitely. He's originally from New York. Went to train with him a couple times. And he claims he teaches Jeet Kune Do. He even has Bruce Lee's image as his logo. It's the Burbank Wing Chun Center. If you want to do a search for it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
I even turned him into the Bruce Lee estate. I sent an anonymous letter saying, look, this guy's using your symbol. He doesn't teach JKD. I was there. I was at a school, I know. And I asked him, I didn't tell him about my background. What JKD stuff you know? JKD's just Wing Chun. I just read the Tao, that one Bruce Lee book, and it's just Wing Chun. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. And It was funny. Him and I would never. He would never let me spar him, which I really wanted to do. But and his students, I would spar with his students. Obviously, I had years of experience over them and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was doing stuff that was old Wing Chun, and he's like, "What are you doing? You can't do that." What do you mean I can't do that? I just scored. What do you mean I can't do that? Oh, we don't do that here. Yeah, I'm like, okay, and that to me, like, I think, oh God, what is it? Yip Chan's son or something like that. He was a student, an actual student of him, but then he had a falling out with them because he was teaching. He was getting into the more of the mixed martial arts stuff, and with the Wing Chun aspect, these guys are like, look, we don't do that. We don't want our name associated with that. So if you're going to do that, you can't associate with us. And it turned into a big stink. And he had a falling out, too, or something like that with the Wing Chun Society, whatever they might be, and stuff. And, just like, that's cool if you want to learn Wing Chun as a traditional martial art. It's fun. I had fun doing it and stuff. And it has its practical aspects, too.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. It's just like, I'm never going to say, like, your martial art sucks, what you're doing sucks, or anything like that. And that's what too many people have been doing. Fran was doing it for so long, and then here she goes and joins the people that she had problems with and stuff. So it's too close-minded and stuff. And but yeah, that Todd Sean Tai is his name. It's funny because in some old magazine issues, like, I trained with him for a little bit. He used me for some magazine articles and stuff like that, and I always thought that was funny going back to see those
Yeah.
and the photo shoots we did, and because I was thinking like Dan Lee did at a point. I'm like, I want to get to the core of JKD. I want to learn Wing Chun, but then I did it for like 6 months. I'm just like, this is a step backwards. And this was during the time when Jerry was sick and stuff like that. And I was exploring everybody. I was going to Inasano's school. I was going to some of his students and stuff like that. One thing I will say about Paul Vunak is his students have done the best. I mean, like the Straight Blast Jim, that Matt Thornton guy.
Right.
He had a decent following, but he's losing a lot of reputable people that have been with him. The same thing with Jerry Wetzel trained under Paul Vunak and stuff. So I would have to say, like, what Vunak teaches, articles I've read about him and what he writes, I don't like. Never liked it.
Yeah.
His books suck. And but the thing is, though, he's doing something right if he's having successful students like that. So it must be the mindset. That's all I could think about. I think it's the attitude, is the mindset and attitude. Whereas Jerry's students, they're, and a lot of the other second generation students, they're stuck in a certain mindset. And being a business person, knowing that you can't get different results with the same mindset, and they're stuck in that, and they're basically doomed to their own failure, if you ask me. And that's the path I was on during that time and stuff. And since I basically, you have to change your attitude. And what Jerry told me Bruce Lee would say all the time, he goes, basically, you can change a guy's mind, but you can't change his attitude. And that's something that you have to do yourself. And that just comes from learning. And that's one quote that always stuck with me that you don't hear a lot. Bruce Lee actually said. And oh geez, let me think what else. Yeah, and the thing is too, I mean, from the email I sent you last night, I don't want you to get the thing that I hate your reform and all this and that.
Right.
It's just that there are attitudes on there that I can't. It's not that I can't deal with. I don't want to be a part of that because I just get into conflicts then, and I don't want to be part of conflicts because, like, you can't change a person's attitude, and people are stuck in that mindset and stuff, and that's cool. If it's working for them, fine.
Right.
But the thing is, though, don't criticize me if you're not gonna try to understand me. That's my thing, and that's one thing I always had a problem with, like William Holland or this one guy. I remember this guy in England. I can't even remember his name. It just seemed like he would hound me and just rag on everything I said, without trying to understand me. When this guy's been training for like a year. I mean, I'm not trying to be boastful that I've got 13, to 27 years of martial arts training. Therefore, you've got to listen to me.
Right.
But the thing is, I use that experience with the way I talk and the information I'm giving, so at least understand where I'm coming from before you criticize it and stuff. And there's just too much of that it's it's just kind of something I don't want to be a part of. And you're doing a great thing. To me, you're the only site that's holding together the third generation students.
Yeah.
Do I wish the conversations were better? Yes, absolutely, because JKD has a lot to offer. I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but the thing is, it's just unfortunate the direction it's been taking over the past 5 years, and the direction it's always had. There's always been a thing, people want to get organized, but attitudes would kill it, basically. And it's really disappointing. But let me think of some other students I've trained with. I'm just trying to go through all the. I don't feel like I've given you enough dirt. Oh, training with Gene. Gene Ching is a nice guy. He came to one of Rodney's seminars, and he was him and I were partners actually that day, and it was cool because him and I just threw information back and forth, and it's cool to see someone that has like an open mind training. I really liked his book, his JKD Basics book. To me, that's a good starter course for anyone that wants to know about JKD and stuff. Lamar's one book I thought was okay, but the first half, when the philosophy stuff, and I thought that was cool. But the second half of the book, where he's doing these posed, fight choreographed stuff, I mean, it's like that's not. I don't go for that, because that to me is just ridiculous. And there's footage of Jerry getting pissed off at me on there too.
Yeah.
Which is Jerry and I are doing one trapping move, and Jerry wants me to hit him hard in the arm, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that because he bruises, and stuff like that. And he got frustrated with me and had to sit down and calm down. I mean, he does have a temper; it does flare up.
Yeah.
And so he got this guy Dane to do it and stuff with me.
Dane Junod, right?
Yeah, that's it. And I have no problem. I'll hit Dane, no problem, and stuff. And but it's pretty embarrassing. I'm embarrassed by what I do on those videotapes that they show, because it's stuff that we didn't even rehearse it. It's stuff that we're just filming. I just said, look, let's just riff on some stuff and let the camera run, and if there's any footage we can use, I'll put it up there. And Dane goes, okay, let's just do this. I'm just going to attack you. I'm like, and you want me to just go back and forth in a straight line or what? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. So what do you want me to do? And he goes, just go with it. And I'm like, okay, so you're just going to attack me and I defend? I can't hit you back? I'm like, yeah, just defend. That doesn't make any sense. So he's is basically showing off his JKD stuff and all this and that, and you just see me backing up. And I'm just like, okay, and how are we going to use this? And they include it on their video footage. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Not really much of an instructional tape, I should say.
Right.
But and the whole low line attack stuff, I mean, we're at the point now in martial arts evolution where when you kick a guy in the shins, they're not going to grab their shin and go, ow, and jump around like a Bugs Bunny character that got an anvil dropped on their foot, and then you can take advantage of them. I mean, to me, like the low line attacks, it's an aggravation thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like a be all end all to a fight, you know. Unless you're aiming for somebody's knee, and you better have a damn good aim, and you better get them the first time, because if you screw up, you're gonna get killed, basically.
Right. Yeah.
That type of thing. But
well, rumor has it people like Tommy Carruthers can snap a knee with his low round kick. So who knows?
yeah, I'm sure anybody can do that as long as the opponent is just standing there.
Right.
I mean, I remember having that problem on the website, talking about how his footage was sped up and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not taking away from Tommy Carruthers' talent. He's talented. Yeah, that's awesome. But the thing is, though, the problem I had was that part of his demo tapes, I mean, the guy was saying, it's not sped up, it's not sped up. I'm like, well, the thing is, there are settings on your video camera, or your still camera, or whatever, that increase or decrease the camera's aperture and allow a certain amount of light to come into your lens that take fast footage. When the camera aperture is open, fast footage makes it look like it's faster because there's more stuff being recorded per frame rate. It's capturing, so there's no motion blur, basically.
Okay.
You're not having stuff that's dropped off in between frame rates. So basically, film actually isn't real time. You're actually getting like, a split second or so off. But when you open an aperture, you're allowing more information to be recorded, and it looks like it's faster. And I brought up the point, that's what that is. I mean, even the people moving, it's not just Tommy Carruthers isn't just moving fast. Everyone around him is moving fast.
Right.
That was my point, and no one seemed to get it. And I thought I was being as simple as possible and explaining it, and it just turned into an argument. But
not on my forum.
What's that?
I said,
yeah,
not
exactly.
On my forum.
But yeah, and I'm just like, you know what? Okay, the guy's talented. He's not a god. Let's not worship him. Okay.
Right.
And but I don't know if that guy Ron Prather still posts on there too, but he fumed my ass big time when he wrote up there, Jerry's an alcoholic and all this. I'm glad that you took that down and stuff. And I, mentioned to Jerry, who's this Ron Prather guy that keeps mentioning your name? And Jerry's like, I don't know. and the one time I called him out, I was gonna visit him in Indiana. I said, Ron, just give me your address. I'll come over and we could talk. And he was being elusive. He goes, oh, my name's in the yellow pages.
Yeah.
And I flew into Fort Wayne, and I don't know where he's located. I think about an hour or so away. And, I was visiting my family and stuff like that. I'm not going to go try to find an Indianapolis yellow pages at the library and track you down. So, like, give me your address. I would have drove over there. We would have had some words and stuff. I would like to see what he knows. Right. Because when he put up his e-pamphlet or whatever that is, right, and stuff, when I read that, I was just like, why are you stealing Paul Vunak's material? And not only that, someone that puts a picture of themselves with their arms crossed, puffing out their biceps on the first page, I'm just like, I can't take you seriously. Right. It's just like, the thing is, the guy never had anything to offer in that form at all. I mean, it was always bullshit about him trying to piss somebody off or something. And you know what? This guy, he's supposed to be a college professor and stuff like that. If you want to pick fights like that, man, just go outside and do it. That to me, I've never seen. I've visited a lot of forums since being online. I've never seen someone that just wants to piss people off like that, right, and without having anything to back it up either. That's what's even funnier. I mean, and there was this other time too on the forum where basically this guy was saying about holding focus mitts, how the vertical fist is not powerful and all this and that. I'll tell you, I had a pretty good vertical fist punch at the time, and Jerry. I mean, for as old as he wouldn't hold focus mitts for me. He would have to get one of his students to do it, and Jerry even commented to me, he goes, Lou, for your size and stuff like that, there are guys that are twice your size that don't hit as hard as you do, and stuff. And granted, I'm hitting focus mitts. That's all I did, at that time and stuff.
Right.
So, and this one guy that was saying, oh, and I told him, look, I'll show you how to hold a focus mitt, and you can hold it for me, and I'll punch it. Nothing ever became of that. I can't remember. It was some gay guy, I think, that was one of Vunak's students that was on your site. I can't remember exactly. I think he was a gay guy. He was quite open about it, I think. But
Well, was he like Eddie A or something like that?
that's it. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh. And oh gosh, let me think what else. But yeah, the Prather guy. I mean, he he just burned my ass big time. And after the point that I called him out and he wouldn't do anything about it, the guy was just a joke. I mean, I don't know what his background is, what his training background is, and stuff. But obviously, it's probably nothing important. He was just someone trying to make a name for himself, and you can't make a name for yourself by being an asshole, as Fran is finding out,
Right.
because it's the only people that are joining her organization
Uh huh.
are Bruce Lee fans,
Hold on.
basically.
Hold on 1 second.